Super Soul Sisters, an amazing episode yet again. Our Super Soul Sister is Annette Nakkazi. She is a student, researcher, and of course she's not giving up, okay? And I love to have people like this, to have women from all walks of life to come and talk about their stories, share their stories, encourage us, motivate us. Like, as you know, it's the Super Soul Sisters. My name is Rowena Kajumba, and of course, yet another interesting one. I'm so glad when we talked, you didn't even hesitate. You know, you said, oh, yes, I would love to be a part of this. So many times there's this saying of how women don't want to be on TV or they don't want to be exposed. But I'm glad that I have people like you for an example to show. You're very welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I'm the one who is, so happy to be here. I mean, so many people want to be on TVs, but I mean, not everybody can be on a TV. So I'm really happy that I am here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So when people hear Annette Nakkazi, then they're hearing student, they're hearing researcher. Let's first go back to understand you as an individual, who you are as a child, so that we can get to know the now.
I grew up from Busawe. Well, I don't know if many people know Busawe, but a long time ago it was in Masaka district. Now I think it's divided, so it belongs to Chotera district.
Okay.
Yeah, there, Kaboko. I grew up mainly with my grandmother, and I went to Namugongo. Not Namugongo of Kampala.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, okay.
Yeah, there is a certain primary school in the village called Namugongo Primary School, St. Charles Ruanga Primary School. And that's where I did my primary from P1 to P7. From there, I went to Kaboko Secondary School, still at my village. And that's where I did my secondary education from senior 1 to senior 6. Yeah.
You didn't move around a lot. That's good.
No,
most people today
one school.
For school. Okay, so what was this like? First of all, as a child growing with your grandmother, what was that like? What do you go back to when you talk about your grandmother?
Well, she's a lovely lady. We were so many. I grew up with my cousins. We were so many, and we used to wake up, go to the garden, dig. That is if it was a weekend. But during the weekdays, we used to wake up, go to the well, fetch water, and then after prepare and go to school. It was, something
really
interesting.
Early mornings, eh?
Yeah, early mornings. I mean, at 5 a.m.
Okay.
And I don't like to wake up, but I had to do that.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
of course, we can't let our grandma to go fetch water when we are available.
Yeah.
So after bringing water, we used to prepare ourselves, go to school, and we used to cook a lot of sweet potatoes and kind of roast them. It was so delicious. So I loved those moments. And then at school, I loved playing. Yeah, I don't remember, to be honest, I don't remember studying or, focusing on books or paying so much attention in class or maybe thinking that I want to be this. When I met a doctor, I wanted to be a doctor. When I met a lawyer, I wanted to be a lawyer. So my passion was so
They kept switching, eh?
Exactly.
Like most of us, really.
Yeah, exactly. So I was mainly focusing on playing, and I was the queen of games, because I used to come up with various ideas how we can play. And the other thing I loved was porridge.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I loved taking porridge,
yeah.
the lunchtime porridge,
Okay.
yeah. And I remember there's a time when there was this girl who, I think she just didn't like me. I don't know. I think she didn't like me. So the bell rang, and then I ran. I think I was so hungry. So I was like, I'm going to be the first one on the line. And then the girl was like, you always ran for porridge. I was like, because I love it.
I know, and some of those things do play with people's self-confidence. But I like how you said, yeah, because I love it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an interesting story. Yeah. So now, growing up with your grandmother, what was she like, and how did she influence? Of course, you've talked about waking up early mornings, getting prepared and set and going to school. But what are some of those things that you feel, yes, they did influence me, even while in primary school, and how you did your things and things like that?
The one thing I cannot forget about my grandma is that she made sure I have something to eat whenever I came back home. I grew up in a home where we had only one garden, but I don't know how we made it. With only one garden, but we were able to have food. So my grandma made sure that Anna, well, she calls me Anna, Anna has something to eat. And she always defended me, you know. You know, when you're growing up, there are so many people who can come to your home and they say, Anna did this, Anna did this. But she was like, she did this? Okay, I'll talk to her. But when I explained it to her, she always understood. And I loved that about her, you know. She wasn't defending my mistakes, but she was trying to understand what happened and how I can avoid it in the future.
So while we're still in primary school and secondary school, you've put out something out there on YouTube speaking about what nature of schools you went to, of course, in comparison to where you are now. What did you mean by this? When you talk about poor schools, what are we talking about? Because people may not understand. When someone says poor schools, someone may say grades, maybe performance. Someone will say maybe it's the level of course, in terms of how they get to teach the students, how they get to. So let's go into that story. When you talked about coming from poor schools to getting into bigger places and now being a researcher. Let's go back to that.
Well, when I say poor schools, I mean the kinds of resources you do have at that school and the infrastructure. Let me say the buildings. Let me consider the buildings. We used to study from dusty class, and we used to use a cow dung to clean our class. Our classes were not cemented. So to avoid Jigger'S, you know Jigger'S, right?
Yes.
Yeah, those tiny things. Oh my goodness, they're so frustrating.
You're speaking like, ooh, I remember.
You know, they disturbed me so much, and they used to bite me, you know, at this, you know, what is this?
Oh yes, at the heels.
Yeah, the heels, and I didn't like that. And the boys used to, you know, to tease me, bully me because I had Jigger'S. I didn't like them, so I just hated Jigger'S.
So in the class, you poured cow dung.
Yeah. We used to mix the cow dung with water, and we used to spread it over on the floor. We used to do that on Friday, and then on Monday it was dry. We didn't have windows, you know, in our classes or classrooms. So when the rain came, it could pour on us. So we had to concentrate or converge in the middle, in the middle of the class, you know. So, I mean, studying from such an environment and then going to bigger places kind of taught me that life is not constant. If you are determined and if you have people around you who empower you, who give you energy, and people who trust you and are willing to support you, you can always end up doing whatever you want. That's what I learned.
Now this is primary though?
Yes. Okay. And then in secondary, well, for this school, the buildings were a little bit old. I wasn't uncomfortable all the time, but sometimes you get scared if you see cracks, you know, like, oh, is it going to fall
and crumble?
Or what if we are inside the class? Yeah. But there were some really nice looking buildings. I don't know who built those buildings, but A-level students got new buildings, which was really amazing, and everybody wanted it to
You couldn't
shift.
wait to get to A-level.
They wanted to shift to those buildings. But at that school, we used to fetch water, and the well was so far, miles away from the school. So after school, we used to go to the well and fetch some water. Well, I joined the boarding section in my senior four. In my senior four, and that was after the head teacher was like, Annette, I want you to be in the boarding section. And then I was like,
please don't tell me because you
on your coast.
And did they agree to that?
Exactly, they agreed, and then I joined the boarding section. And probably the way we used to do things, and even the type of foods we used to consume. Because for students to perform, or for any person to function properly, they need to eat, a balanced diet, you know, foods that can, you know, help them think, you know, well and, you know, be healthy, be happy. But, you know, we used to just eat, you know, beans and posho. I don't see a problem with that if the beans are high quality. But, you know, if the beans are kind of infested, exactly. So, well, you can have nitrogen from those, you know, from the coats of those tiny insects. But I mean, I can get nitrogen from other foods, not from those insects.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are so many other things, you know. The only difference between, I think, not the only difference, there are so many differences, but I mean the major difference between my primary and secondary was that it was compulsory for me to come in shoes. But throughout my primary,
you were barefoot.
Yeah.
That's why you struggled with the Jigger'S, right? Because
that is the thing.
Yeah, I think that's why you struggled with the Jigger'S. Now, okay, so now you got through the experience in primary. Of course, elevating to A level, you can't wait because they're probably better buildings. You're thinking maybe better food, and that means you had to work twice as hard or even harder so that you could go to the A level section of the school. I think that was a way of encouraging you people.
Oh, that's not the best way. It's one of the ways, but that's not.
So,
that's not
but
the best
you had
way.
all this time you're performing well, because by the time the head of the school tells you, I think we want you in boarding school probably for more focus and time in school. That means you're actually a good student.
Yeah, I can say that. I was not that good, but I was kind of good. So I was just there in the mediocre.
So you were doing okay, and they figured maybe if she comes for boarding, she'll do
exactly. The good thing was that I participated in so many things. I was almost everywhere, and you know, teachers were like, "You were almost everywhere. You can't focus." You know, at any school, there are students who they see and they are like, "We need to first to get from her, first to get from him." They spot them and they're like, we have to focus on them, and we have to focus on the rest of others. But I think this person will give us a first grade because they love them, you know, to be ranked highly anyway. Many teachers were worried about me because I could do music and drama. I could, you know, I could sing in church. I enjoyed singing in church. I could, you know, play netball, and I was the head games and sports prefect for 2 terms.
Nice.
Yeah, so I loved that, you know. It was a nice experience, you know. I made so many friends. I learned how to treat people, you know. Those, you know, interpersonal skills, because
that is true.
Yeah, those are things that really, you know, matter. They are really important. Most people take them for granted, but you cannot stay anywhere without having those interpersonal social skills.
Someone keeps saying social capital is the most important thing.
Yeah, very true. Yeah,
That
very
is
true.
So now your secondary life, as you adjust, and now you probably go to A level. What are you thinking of at this time? Or you're just going with the flow like most students? Hey, I went senior 5. What did you choose to take on? Because considering now as we speak, you're a researcher, you're a student of research, what did you choose to do in A level? What did you drive yourself into?
I'll take you back a little bit. Well, when I was in senior 1, I used to study to be the best. That's what I wanted. Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to become in the future. Just wanted to be number 1. I want to be number 1. So in the 3rd term of senior 1, I became the best student. Nice. And I got a bursary from the school. So I went to the bursar one day. I had paid some money. I remember I had paid 50,000 Ugandan shillings. And after knowing that if you are the best, you don't have to pay the money, then I was like, oh, I think I should get a refund. So I went to the bursar. I was like, bursar, I heard that if I become the best, I don't have to pay any school fees. And she was like, who told you? And I was like, yes, I heard this from someone. Then she was like, okay, go write a letter and take it to the HM. If he signs it, you bring it here, then we sort that out. I did that. I went to the head girl and I was like, you know what? Her name was Ruth. Yeah, and I think she is still there. Ruth, wherever you are, I love you. So Ruth, I was like, you know what? I need your help. I've never written anything. Please write this for me. We wrote that. the HM accepted, and I was like, wow, I got the money, but I didn't take the money back to home. I went to the market and bought the things I loved.
You went to the market.
Yeah. So that market is Kabonera, somewhere there near Bukunda. So that inspired me, you know, that gave me energy. I was like, oh, so I can get free money if I work so hard. Okay, let me just study to get that money.
Exactly.
I didn't know that when I'm going to study, I won't get the money again, but I'll just get a bursary instead.
Okay.
So I kept on working hard, and I studied on bursaries throughout my my lower secondary and then upper secondary. When I finished my my O level, I decided to do sciences. I was good, you know, at both sciences and arts. Yes. Yeah. But I wanted to be a doctor. You know. Yeah. I have an aunt who is a doctor at Masaka Hospital. So I was like, I want to be a doctor. And there is also a doctor who, you know, who came to our school, and he was explaining about malaria and how malaria spreads. So I wanted to understand more. When the mosquito bites me, how can I get malaria? How does it come? And how can I see it? Well, I think those were stupid things to ask, like how can I see malaria?
They drove you to...
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to study biology, you know, and chemistry to dive into, you know.
So now, secondary school, which year is this?
That was from 2009 to 2012, that is O level. And then from 2013, 2014, that is A level. A-level,
okay.
Yes.
So when you hear this person speak, I think at the time, of course, you didn't know this is your calling, eh? So many times they bring for us people to talk, career guidance, what? And half the time you're half listening, half, you know. And then you look back and you're like, how? So now we know your drive. You said, I need to study, get this money. Probably go back to the market and buy more things. But then again, you said getting bursaries, which was also light now on your grandmother, isn't it?
Yeah.
She must have been a very proud woman of you. So when you go to A-level and you say you're doing sciences, what do you choose to do?
I chose BCM, that is biology, chemistry, and mathematics. And then I did computer as a sub thing. I wanted to do PCB, but I wasn't confident in physics. And I didn't love physics that much. I loved biology and chemistry and mathematics. Yeah. Oh, I was so good in mathematics. People might say, she brags a lot. Yes, I was really good. I was really good at mathematics. Things just changed, and then I dived to biology. Leaving out physics, I was worried that, oh, I might not become a doctor because I need physics. Yeah. But I was like, that's all right. I'll find a way of becoming a doctor. I'll find a way. By the way, there is something I wanted to mention here. For schools, I think it's really important for them or head teachers to bring people who know the available courses on the market.
Yes.
Because I didn't know about, I mean, even the course I'm taking or I took for my bachelor's and master's, I didn't know that these courses exist. I only knew medicine, engineering. So if students are unaware that there are so many courses you can do with your combination, they can be discouraged that, oh, I didn't do PCB, so I can't be a doctor. No, you can be a doctor. If you have biology and chemistry, you can be a doctor. And there is no, you know, straight path that, okay, I must do this to become a doctor. You can study biology, and then you can apply to study medicine. Yeah, the system might differ. In Uganda, they might want you to have physics, but in other countries, you might not have to. You may not have
exactly,
to exactly. So they need people who really have a wide understanding of the available courses, you know, all these, you know, opportunities, and then talk to those students so they are not limited or they don't regret, you know, not doing something they are not good at, because it doesn't make sense for you to force yourself to do something you cannot do and then fail it. And I also, you know, having teachers around who, you know, who can inspire you, who can be like, oh, Annette, you're going to be a great doctor. So irrespective of the combination you've taken, PCB or BCM, you have someone who still say,
you will make
doctor.
You will.
Doctor. So I'd be like, it's fine. he doesn't mention about my combinations. I'm on the right track. It's fine.
Yeah, that is true. We need
Yeah.
a lot more of that encouragement. So now you decide to take on this particular combination. What happens after your A level? You know, you said, you know, because we've been talking about your undergrad degree. What then do you choose to go for? Because you said, I didn't even know some of these courses exist.
Well, when I finished my high school, I won some money. You know, at my O level, we had a teacher. His name is Chimera Godfrey. I'm sorry to mention him, but he's such a lovely person. He used to say, if you have a distinction, you'll get this amount of money. So I got so much money at my O level, and then at my A level, I got a gift from him as well. After getting all those awards, the school took me back. They called me to be a junior teacher at that school, Kaboko Secondary School.
While in your vacation.
Exactly.
Ah, interesting.
So I was
I
teaching.
last heard that like way back when people used to go and teach in their vacation. And so many people today are not bothered.
Maybe there are no opportunities.
Well, yeah, maybe it's too many teachers out there.
Maybe.
Yeah. So then you go back to teach.
To teach, yeah.
In your vacation.
Yes.
What class are you teaching?
I was teaching all the classes, mathematics and biology.
Oh, an A level?
Yes, yeah. Oh, and
Wow.
A level. Yeah, I was teaching mathematics and biology. So while in class, I got a phone call from my friend. His name is Mark. He stays there in Mitiana. He was like, Annette, you are a smart student, and I think you performed well at your A level. Don't you think that you should apply for this opportunity? There is this opportunity here. Come and apply here. So I left whatever I was doing. I had never traveled beyond Kampala. So I only knew 2 towns, Masaka, Kampala, because I have some cousins who stay in Kampala.
So
So
you
they
knew,
brought
my
me here
cousins
once.
yes.
Yes. So I was like, oh, so I'm going to Mitiana. I don't know that area, but let me go. Because I didn't know what I was going to do next, you know. You know,
Exactly.
sometimes you do things.
Now that is
but
while
you
you've
are-
been teaching.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sometimes you are studying, but you really don't know what's going to happen next, you know. So I was there. He called me. I was like, I'm going. I'm exploring this.
Yes.
You know, whatever happens, I have God on my side. I'm going for it.
Yes.
I went to Mitiana. I did the interviews, and then
And these were
we came.
interviews for what exactly?
So the opportunity was from Ashinaga. Ashinaga is an organization that is based in Nansana, and they provide scholarships to African students from the sub-Saharan countries to have a chance to have their education abroad, Japan, the US, France, the UK. So I had to do the initial interviews in Mitiana, and there is an organization called Salem Missions, which is partnering with ACO Africa. So it's ACO Africa whose director took me to Ashinaga. So after I passed the interviews, I mean, I was selected, and then I went to Ashinaga, and I got that opportunity to go to Japan to do my bachelor's degree. That is the major turning point in my life.
In your life, yes.
Yeah. So while at Kaboko, I was selected to go to Kabale. I got the government scholarship. Yeah, to go to Kabale to do education in chemistry and mathematics, if I remember well. But I was like, you know, I had this mindset that if people go abroad, they make money automatically, as if they
if
get
it
them,
just
you know,
comes off
from
the
trees,
tree.
you know, which was so, not so silly, but I mean, that is the mindset of most people here, right? So I was like, I'm going home. I'll not only study, but make money. I need money.
Yeah.
I don't want to be poor forever. So I was like, government, I love you so much, but it's all right. It's okay.
You're like, no, I'm going.
It's okay.
So now, which university is this that you go to?
So I went to the University of Tsukuba, my lovely university. I love that university so much because it taught me a lot. That's where I learned most of the things, and by the time I graduated, I could go to any university I think you can imagine. Harvard, Oxford, Stanford, whatever university you can think of, from my point of view, because they kind of prepared me. Yeah.
So how did it end up being Japan?
This opportunity came, I mean, it was straight. Student will be going to Japan.
Oh,
That's what they said.
This time around, because they keep...
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have so many students. So students choose the countries they want to go to. But in my case, it was a partnership between Ako Africa, Salim Missions, and Ashinaga. So their partnership was, we want a student who can go to Japan.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that's how I ended up to Japan. And I loved it so much.
How did you cope? I mean, strange place, first time traveling. Now imagine you've not really moved much in your own country. You're leaving your country. Strange. Everything is strange, really. Language, everything. How did you cope the moment? Actually, to take this on, weren't you scared? I would be scared. If it was maybe English-speaking nations, it would be easy.
So when I finished my high school, my brother had my certificate. This pass slip.
Yeah.
After doing my interviews from Mitiana, I went. It was around 1 a.m. the night. I went to my brother's home. My brother, please, my pass slip. And he was like, no. You know, at that time, it was, so common for people to die from abroad. Saudi Arabia, those Asian countries.
Yeah.
I think those people who went as maids, they were murdered so frequently. So it was in the news, At the time, that time. So it was so scary and everybody was so scared. So my brother was like, you're going to Asia to be beheaded? And I was like, this is something different. Please, my pass slip.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, Annette, here you are. Give me my pass slip. I left.
That's quite a determination.
Yeah, I was so determined to go because I didn't want to remain poor. It was like, this is my opportunity and God knows where I'm going. He knows where I'm going. So it's all right. It will be all right.
Okay.
I wasn't scared at all. But the advantageous thing about going to Japan was that before going, I spent a full year there at Nansana, at their headquarters. Yeah, so I was staying with Japanese students. So I learned a lot of Japanese.
We'll be back as we hear a bit of Japanese and how that went for you. But just a reminder, we are here at Daughters Exclusive at Spear House, Ginger Road. You can check out the place, beautiful furniture place. As you can see where we're seated, we're having a good time, right? And we'll be back with our super soul sister, Annette, to talk a whole lot more. Annette Nakkazi, our super soul sister, and of course she's seated here with us at Daughters Exclusive, and we've just been talking about the fact that she had to be with these people for some time before she actually left the country. I like people who do not take fear or do not take chances. They move with the flow. So many times people are like, I have to prepare, I have to plan, but sometimes the most unplanned things are usually turn
kind of work out
to be, because then you never know where life takes you.
Exactly.
So, a little bit of Japanese here and there. Let us hear a bit of it. Let me hear. I can't differentiate most of the Asian languages.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So what can I say
So what
Japanese?
if you're saying good morning or how are you? How do you say this thing?
Good morning is ohayo gozaimasu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that is polite. And if you're talking to a senior person, like your professor or anybody who is senior or superior to you, you have to kind of, bend a little bit. Exactly.
That's a culture I admire about
exactly. That is ohayo gozaimasu. But if you're talking to a friend, ohayo, only that.
Just like we do here, really.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, so that's interesting.
How are you? O genki desu ka? You don't have to bow for that, O genki desu ka? Are you alright? And then for a friend, o genki? Yeah.
Like a WhatsApp kind of.
Chechiru, something, something like that.
That's interesting. Yeah. So, and then it didn't take you long to learn a few things. I think at the time you're like, as long as I can greet, get a meal, I would imagine, and find somewhere to sleep. Yeah. So then a few months you're with them. What did it mean now when the day came? I am leaving. What was that like for you?
Oh my God!
And was your grandma still there at the time? Was still there?
Yes, I was still there. didn't sleep on that day. I mean, I was so excited, you know. I didn't know. I just you know, had Japan as an image of cars, because what I knew was that every car which is in Uganda is from Japan, which is not true, I think. So that's,
but the good ones.
Yeah, the good ones are from Japan.
Yeah, the most, the ones that we can really work with, the good ones.
Okay,
yeah.
well, it makes sense then. It makes sense. Yes, I was right. Yeah, so that is the image of Japan I had. So I was really excited to see what Japan is. You know, these Japanese students kind of made it intense. Japan is, you know, great. The trains, the buildings. So
and you're like, yeah.
exactly. Wow, I wanna go there and see the buildings, but I don't know how I will survive there. They have different foods, so I don't know if my stomach will hurt. I was worried of those simple things,
yes.
but I mean, they didn't matter because I just had to calm down and enjoy. You know,
Yeah.
variety is the spice of life.
That is
So enjoy it, learn. You know, go back home. Narrate the stories, you know, if there are opportunities, try to find ways of helping others. I mean, those are the things that, you know, later on, I noticed that I had to do instead of worrying about those simple things. But I was so excited to go to Japan because there were other students who were in Japan. So they used to tell us, in Japan, you can work. In Japan, there is no unemployment, and it's true, there is no unemployment in Japan. So I was excited to make money while studying. I had never owned my own money, so I wanted money. I was like, I'm going to study, but I also want to make money.
That is true.
So I was so excited. You know, those are the things that were at the back of my mind. And when I arrived, I got a job in 1 month.
Really? Wow.
I was working at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you doing exactly? We need to be clear on this. Were you?
I made the burgers, yes.
Ah, okay.
I made the burgers, and in some cases, I was at the counter speaking Japanese. I became really good at Japanese, yeah. Over time, you know, when you love something, you learn it. If you speak it, you feel cool. I don't know, but I just feel cool when I speak a different language.
That is true.
Yeah.
You know, when you know different languages.
Exactly. And when you're translating for somebody, you know, well, I'm translating for you, so I am understanding for you.
Exactly.
So I control your brain, kind of.
That is very true. That is very true. So now the course that you decided to do here when you went to the university, which course is this that you decided to do? Were you guided, or you just got there and, you know, decided on how to go about it?
I did biological sciences. So I applied in 2015 for that course. I got admitted, and then I joined in 2016. To apply there, it takes a full year, the entire process.
Did someone guide you on that choice, or you figured this is what I want to do?
Yes, I checked the courses they wanted, and, you know, I was looking for the courses that I loved. I loved biology so much, despite having a D in my in my A levels. It's so crazy. Yeah.
But
so
you said, "Hey, I'm going for it."
I loved biology. The only reason I had was I failed. I didn't fail, but I almost failed biology because I was multitasking. I was almost everywhere. Netball, singing, whatever. So I couldn't focus. And the syllabus is so huge. Yeah, A-level Uganda, the Ugandan syllabus for biology,
really
it's so huge for a student in only 2 years. I don't know how students make it, but it's way too huge for a student to manage all that.
So now when you go there and you start your course, how long does it take you?
4 years. The course is 4 years, but you can graduate within 3.5 years or 3 years, but it's always better to finish, take your time, take your time, learn, because a university is not a tunnel that you're just going to go through like a train, but it's, you know, you have to feel it.
Process.
Exactly. Make friends, you know, grow, experience various things, do part-time job, volunteer, go to camps, you know, but you cannot just finish in 3 years when you're doing all that, you know. If you want your life to be enjoyable, do all that, take it slow, finish within, you know, those 4 years.
After you do your undergraduate degree in Japan, what then, because you talked about taking on your master's as well, what drives you to take that next step? Because most people say, I've graduated, I'm done. Let me go back and see what to do.
So after arriving into Japan, I still wanted to be a doctor, but when I was joining my third year, I joined the lab.
Okay.
And I noticed that the lab is so interesting. Doing research is so interesting. You keep on learning, you know, you read other people's work, and then, you know, you learn something new. Your brain is always active. And when you are in a discussion, you don't get stuck. If a person mentions about this, you have an idea, if that's your field. So I was like, no, I want to be a researcher. And besides that, I lost my sister to cancer and my aunt to cancer. So I was like, okay, if I do research, what should I focus on? Oh, cancer.
Something that actually matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I studied about cancer, and I noticed that, oh, this is actually a serious disease. It's a set of diseases which is disturbing people. We don't have any, you know, well-defined cure for most cancers. So I was like, oh, I'm going to focus on this. And if I become a doctor, I don't think that I'm going to be in research. I imagined, you know, a doctor, they'll just have to go to the theater, go to the hospital, work and leave. I don't think they can do research. I don't think so. They can do research.
They may not have the time.
Exactly, exactly. They can do research, but that is not laboratory based. I want laboratory based research.
Okay, so that's
I want to
test
touch test tubes. I want to have my gloves on, do the test tubes, mix those reagents that are not dangerous anyway, and then, you know, see what comes out. And if I get in drug, I administer it to any animal. How does that change? I wanted to just, you know, learn things, discover, you know. I was just curious to understand what cancer is and how best we can treat it.
And why it's taking people.
Exactly. Where does it come from? You know, the first question to ask.
Which takes us back to when you were in school, eh?
Exactly. How does the mosquito carry the parasites?
Exactly. So then you figure, I need to go into research, get into lab and things of this nature. Are you thinking of what university should I go to next? Or maybe you're thinking, I can do this here. Do they have it anyway?
I wanted to stay at my university. Well, I was planning to apply to 3 universities in Japan. That is Tokyo University, Kyoto University, and my university, Tsukuba University. So I wanted to stay there or go to those 2 universities and mainly focus on cancer research. But when I was in my 3rd year, I was in the laboratory and I was doing an experiment that was about, let me say, inflammation, the relationship between inflammation and mitochondrial dysfunction. I want to go deep into that. And there was an antibody I was using. It's called ANT-F480. And that antibody was developed by somebody from Oxford University. So I got a very good signal from that antibody. I got so excited.
Yeah.
You know, I had struggled with the experiment for almost 3 months, doing the same experiment, but the results were not that good. And that time, I got a very good signal, and my professor was so happy. So I was like, who made this antibody? I got a very good signal for the first time, and I really love it.
Really?
Yeah, the results were looking so good.
Yeah.
And I started reading about the antibody, who made it, and when. That's when I landed to the person, that is Professor Gordon, who made it. He's based at Oxford University. I was like, wow, I want to go to this university and meet him.
Yes.
I want to go here and say thank you physically because I can't email him.
So you got your way.
Exactly. So I went to the website to check Oxford University and then the tuition. Hey, in Japan, for only 1 year, I need about 550,000 yen to study for a full year, 2 semesters. In the UK, I needed 5.5 million yen. That's a lot of money for only 1 year. I was like, me? Come on, bye.
That is
too much. I closed the website and I just left. I focused on Japanese universities because education is, you know, obtainable there, high quality, and the tuition is way low compared to, you know, to the tuition in the UK. So in 2019, I went to Rwanda to Butaro Cancer Center of Excellence for my internship. And while there, I got the information from Ashinaga about the Commonwealth scholarships. And I was like, this is an opportunity to study in the UK. I mean, I was so scared to apply there because of tuition. I'm applying to this opportunity. From that day, I started preparing the application. I remember emailing people, you know, even high-level people, and then later on, I understood that, Allah, I kind of messed up. I had to go through somebody to message them. To message exactly. Them. So because of the excitement, I messaged them directly. I was like, oh, I had to go through somebody. But I mean, like, that was due to excitement. I'm sorry.
But, well, you never know what it could amount to.
I needed it. So I prepared the application and applied, and luckily I got it. And that was also, you know, a game changer. Oh, wow. How would I go to Oxford University without, you know, funding?
And, you know, you had already done research on it. You wanted to meet this person.
Exactly.
And here we are.
Yeah. It was like, boom. And Oxford was my first choice. To apply to those, you know, to those universities, they asked me to choose 3 universities. I was like, number 1, Oxford.
Oxford, yeah.
And I applied, and they accepted me. And their admission is so quick, you know, because I did the interview, and then they accepted me in 4 days.
Oh, that's good.
You know, that is so amazing.
That was quick.
You know, so I loved that, and I was like, I'm going to study. They do have what I specifically want, but I'm also going to meet Professor Siamon Gordon to say thank you. I got really very good, strong signal in my results, and I loved it.
Okay. So now, what course do you take on? Because now here you're like, along the way, I decided to do something different.
So there, I wanted to remember that. Sorry, I didn't tell you, but I did my internship at Uganda Cancer Institute in 2018. And then in 2019, I did an internship in Rwanda, that is PIH, Partners in Health, at Butaro Cancer Center of Excellence. I wanted to delve more into cancer, and I had, you know, learned that radiotherapy is, you know, kind of safer compared to other treatments because, you know, if they irradiate a patient, if the tumor is here, they only irradiate that area. For chemotherapy, the drug circulates, you know, in the blood system. So I was like, I really want to learn more about radiotherapy. In 2018, the radiotherapy machine at UCI, the Uganda Cancer Institute, well, I don't know if it was functioning, but I think it had, so I was like, so many people need radiotherapy, but we don't have a functioning machine. So many people were dying, and I was so concerned about that. And even in Rwanda, they had only one radiotherapy machine, and that was at the Army Hospital in Kigali. So all the people had to go to Kigali, and I was like, what makes radiotherapy so special? Well, it's extremely expensive. Let me say that, extremely expensive. But I saw it as something that's a little bit safer. So I was like, I want to study about this. I want this. And then I applied for Masters in Radiation Biology. That is a course that is offered by the Department of Oncology at Oxford University. And you mainly learn about cancer development and its treatment, mainly with radiotherapy, but you also learn about chemotherapy, immunotherapy, virotherapy, and all other new modalities that are coming up. Because in cancer management, you not only focus on one treatment.
That is true.
Yeah, you need a combination of radiotherapy, chemotherapy. To better manage it. What I've learned is that cancer is an extremely complicated set of diseases. You know, there are so many people in laboratories doing their best, but they can develop, you know, they develop drugs that can target a specific cancer. And then that cancer kind of mutate, you know, or kind of changes, and then the drug cannot work on it anymore. And then they have to go back and make a change in that drug, or make a new drug, or sensitize a new drug. That is so, it's so frustrating, you know. Cancer is extremely stubborn. It's the most stubborn thing I've ever, you know, known to exist on this earth. But there is something, you know, interesting that's coming up. That is flash radiotherapy. Flash radiotherapy, let me just talk briefly about it.
I can see you lit up when you talked about it.
You know, when you go to the hospital, they give you, let me say, normal or conventional radiotherapy. That is, they irradiate, you get that treatment for a long time. But flash radiotherapy is administered within milliseconds. They can give you the same dose, but in a very short period of time.
Okay.
And there are so many studies that have indicated that it can kill the cancers and save the normal tissue. When they are treating cancer, they want to save the surrounding normal tissue, but kill the cancer. But this conventional radiotherapy we have, it cannot, it cannot achieve
So
that.
how I wish the flash could, you know, how soon maybe?
How soon? Oh my God.
That's not information.
Well, every research takes a long time, but, you know, great thanks to all people who are in flash, you know, especially Professor Catherine Marie Vozenin. She's based in Switzerland, and, you know, she's, you know, the pioneer in this, you know, flash radiotherapy. You know, she's a lady and she inspires me so much. Whenever I wake up and I read her papers, I feel like, yeah, we have, you know, we can see some light. But, you know, these things take time. And, you know, the major challenge is that we are doing all this research basing on, you know, we start with lower organisms like mice, you know. The mice resembles, you know, a human if we go to evolution, but still the human body is extremely complex compared to the mouse. So the response you might get in the mouse might differ when you go to the humans.
So
and even humans are different. We are different, we have different, you know, genetical composition. So it might, a drug might work on you, it might not work on me. So we are still facing various challenges. The reactions you might get after radiotherapy might be different from the reactions I might get if we are to get the treatment. Oh, I really hope we don't get it, and we shall not get it.
How has it been like for you as a young woman in that case, being in this kind of what people would call a tough environment? When they are telling you what to do, they usually tell the girls, now you go and do the arts, the sciences. Okay, maybe we have doctors, but like, how has that been like for you?
Well, for me, if I'm going to do anything, I consider passion. If I love something, and if I have reasons why I am doing it, I go for it. And that's what I can say to all of you. You know, some people, you know, are so taken away by fear. Oh, I think I cannot do this. Many people will say things, they will say, oh, you're a girl, you can't do this. Who are they to say that? Go for what you want. And I should say that it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. It's always good for you to surround yourself with people who love to see how success looks on you. It's so important. And because that kind of shapes your mindset. Of course, you want to do things, you decide things, but people around you determine your next step a lot.
That's true. So as we wind up, you're now back in the country. Tell us more about these exciting things that you're getting yourself involved with.
I came here. Well, there are so many, you know, opportunities that I have received because of my qualification and my connections, you know. Yeah. So ever since I came, I've been able to attend, you know, various events as a speaker. I was invited by British Council to talk about, you know, science and my journey as a lady in science. And I'm going to be a lecturer at the Uganda Christian University, the Kampala campus, their medical school, and I'll be teaching radiation biology. But I'll be mainly focusing on cancer treatment with radiotherapy. And I also get to work with the Uganda Cancer Institute. That is the only institute in Uganda that manages cancer. That is the only public one I know of in Uganda. So working with such a big organization is, you know, is a great opportunity. So I love that so much. Getting invited by various people to talk to, you know, to their children, you know, talking to, you know, to various, you know, students is something so good because they see, you know, great potential in you and they think that what you say makes sense.
What pushes you every day? Apart from, yes, you have the passion for this, but what pushes you every day?
I mainly focus on what I want to achieve in life and how that is going to create an impact, not only on me, but a large community, my community, where I come from, and then from my community, then to the nation scale, and then from the nation scale to the international scale. I love doing what I want. I don't focus so much on negative people. That is background noise. That's how I take it. And I get a lot of, good comments from various people around the world, There are so many professors, I have so many good professors from Japan, Professor Lewis, Professor Furukubo, so many professors, Professor Mayuri, so many people, My professor, Professor Kayori, those are Japanese professors. And, they give me, energy in their messages, and you are doing incredibly well. Recently, there is a professor who said, Annette, I love your energy, and I can't wait to, to be with you maybe one day or something like that. That is something amazing. I love that. We are women in science. We love science, but the truth is, we are empowered by both men and women. Yeah, for me, I'm encouraged. I'm empowered and I'm inspired by both women and men. And there are so many, ladies who inspire me. So many ladies who are, who are at Oxford who inspire me. So many ladies who are at Tsukuba University who inspire me. So many ladies who are at various universities, like Professor Catherine. So they inspire me in various ways. And, I want to be, like them.
Be the same,
exactly,
for
at
someone
one.
else out
We
there.
can't be on the same table because they are already far
Well,
away
you headed
from
there
me.
because it looks to me like you want to go in and be a doctor yourself,
Exactly, yeah. So
And well, thank you so much, Annette. Annette Nakkazi, of course. We had Daughters Exclusive. We seated here very comfortable with Annette Nakkazi, our super soul sister. She's a researcher and student, and of course, she's still doing great things. She's not just a student, but she's going to teach. See? And I think also the teaching thing has followed you, eh?
that's true.
But to have a young woman achieve so much, that means the world is changing. The world is definitely changing. Do you have any particular quote that you live by that someone out there could say, I could try that?
Oh, well, and most of the quotes have been said by other people. Yeah.
Well, we paraphrase most times.
Yeah, exactly. But personally, I go for what I want. And for me to go for that, I make sure I surround myself with people who love to see how success or greatness looks on
you.
me. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much. Do you have children, or you have a family, amidst all of this?
No,
But you're very young.
Yeah, I'm very young. I don't have a family yet, but I'll have one when the right time comes. I'll have a family.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you're still a young girl. Really. Just first of all, have to maybe first be a doctor. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll become a doctor with a PhD.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll become a doctor, and then I'll be teaching my kids. I'll tell them my achievements,
Exactly.
whatever I've
To
gotten.
motivate them.
Exactly, and how they can get them as well.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much. I've had a lovely time with you. I keep telling people, you'll meet young people with stories, with encouraging stories. Let's not be biased, just like we're pushing for women to tell their stories. Yes? And of course, Annette, thank you so much.
Thank you
Super
for
Soul
having me.
Sisters, till next time. Rowena Kajumba, goodbye.